सम्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुताः पदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वांश्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So I think the discussion is going on of the sthita pragya or the qualities of a self-realized person. So Sundar Chittambu told me that the last part is going on, which describes about, like Arjuna asked in the beginning of this section of Sthita Pragya begins with verse number 2.52 onwards, 52 or 54 onwards, where Arjuna asking various questions to Krishna about the symptoms of a self-realized person who is also known as Sthita Pragya. Correct? So in that various question comes like Arjuna is asking what are the general symptoms in verse number 2.55, general symptoms of a Sthita Pragya, self-realized person. And then he is asking, how does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? All these things. So when Arjuna is asking these questions, how does he speak, sit, and walk? He is not just asking these things in terms of the bodily activities of speaking, sitting, and acting. Rather, each of these questions has a meaning. For example, when he asks this question that how does he speak? That means that how does the intelligence and the words of a self-realized person responds to affection, anger, and neutrality? That's the question. Which means, how does he speak? Which means, how that person's intelligence is situated. How does he respond to different stimulus which comes to him? Suppose somebody is speaking insulting words to him, or somebody is showing affection to him, or somebody is just neutral to him. How does he, respond. That's the meaning of how does he speak. Similarly, the next question he's asked is how does he sit. So how does he sit does not mean how does he sit on sofa or chair. How does he sit means how is he situated, which means what is his mentality, what is his attitude, what is how are his senses restrained, how does he control his senses. So this is the meaning of how does he sit. So I believe all these questions and the discussions in great detail must have been discussed by his guest Sundar Chaitanya Prabhu. So I'm not going in this. We are directly coming to our fourth question, which, so the first three questions were, what are the general symptoms of a Sthita Pragya? Then how does he speak? And how does he sit? Which means how does he speak means how does he respond to affection and anger, and how does he sit means how does he situated, how he control his senses, and what is his mentality. And then the next question is how does he walk. So walk here means, so this is our topic of discussion for today. What are the symptoms of walking of a self-realized person of a Sthita Pragya? So how does he walk means how does he engage his senses? So previous question was how he controls his senses, and now the next question is how he engages his senses. Because controlling we can understand, and now how he engages. That's what the next question is. Just a minute. Yeah, so that's what. So we will see the verses from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So this section begins from the verse number 64 of the second chapter and continues to verse number 71 of the second chapter. So we will recite few verses and then we will see some important points from this very, very important section. Okay. The beauty about this particular section is it gives many practical action points for our day-to-day life also, you will come to know. So I'm sharing the screen. First we'll recite some verses. Okay, the screen is coming? Okay, so you can please repeat the word I am repeating. Raga dvesha vimuktestu vishayan indriyescharan atmavashyir vidheyatma prasadam adhigachati. Yeah, somebody can please read the translation.
Okay, Prabhuji, I will read.
Yes.
But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord.
So here you can pay attention to few qualities or characteristics which Krishna is mentioning about of a self-realized person. How does he engage his senses? See, the whole discussion is coming about how does he engage his senses. So first principle, first point is here is coming is that he is free from all attachment and aversion. First. Second, he is able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom. And the third is by so doing, he attained the complete mercy of the Lord. Like that. So now question will come, Prabhuji, how to become free from all the attachment and aversions? We have so many attachment and aversions. So here the word which is mentioned is raga and dvesha. Raga means attachment, dvesha means aversion. So all of you might have observed in our own personal lives that we all have some likes and dislikes. Correct? Like likes and dislikes are there in all levels. Like for example, our eating habits. We may like certain foodstuffs, and we may dislike certain foodstuffs. Similarly, it can be in terms of some some places. We may like to go to some places. We may dislike to go to some places. It may be in terms of certain people. We may like certain kind of people. We may not like certain kind of people. Correct? Like that. So we all can see in this world that we are in this duality of uh, attachment and aversions. We have likes and dislikes. Correct? So the characteristics which is mentioned here is that how can we can overcome this duality of attachment and aversion, because aversion and attachment are like two sides of the same coin. They are like two sides of the same. If you are averse to something too much, this means you are also attached to that thing also. Because attachment and aversion are both sides of the same coin. Like that. So so it is explained that a Krishna conscious person, although he may appear to be on a sensual platform means he may be doing various activities, like he may also be eating, he may also be sleeping, he may also be doing work, and he may also be going here and there. But the difference between a Krishna conscious person and an ordinary person is, a Krishna conscious person, a devotee, his only concern in life is, how can I satisfy Krishna, or how can I satisfy God? And because he's situated on this platform, that how can I satisfy God, how can I satisfy Krishna, he's always meditating, what Krishna wants me to do. Like that. That is his consciousness. So because of that, he is free from all aversion and attachment. He does not consider what he likes or dislikes. He considers what Krishna likes and dislikes. Whatever Krishna likes, he's ready to do, no matter how much abominable that work may be. And whatever Krishna dislikes, a devotee will never do, no matter how glorious that work may be in the eyes of the people of this world. Let's take a few examples for this. For example, now Krishna is asking Arjuna to fight. Now, fighting is a very ghastly activity. You have to kill people. And that too, here, Arjuna has to kill his own kinsmen. Correct? So, from a worldly point of view, it may appear that killing is not a very good thing. It's not a very good business. A lot of bloodshed will happen. So, Arjuna should not kill. Yeah, it may look very attractive from worldly point of view, but because here Krishna is asking Arjuna to kill, so Arjuna's engaging in the warfare is actually, he is acting on a transcendental spiritual platform, free from attachment and aversion. Like that. If Arjuna don't fight, then that will be considered he is attached to his family members, bodily relationships. And if we don't fight, and if we fight also, simply thinking that because I am a Kshatriya, that's why I should fight, then also it is not good. So the secret to transcend dualities of attachment and aversion is to act for the pleasure of God. Just like Arjuna's act. Another example we can take is of the gopis of Vrindavan. So the gopis of Vrindavan, they left their family members in the middle of the night to go and dance with Krishna. Now, according to the Vedic civilized behavior, if a woman leaves her home in the middle of the night to go and associate with some other men, so it is considered very, very abominable, very, very uncivilized. It's not according to the civilized way of living. This is not supposed to be followed. But then, because gopis are leaving their home in the middle of the night, not to go to some any Tom, Dick and Harry, but they're going to Krishna. So that is glorified by great, great devotees. That is glorified by great acharyas. That is glorified by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was the best of the sannyasis. And gopis are considered as the best of the devotees among all the devotees. So just see, it is a very abominable act of leaving one's family members, one's husband, father, family members in the middle of the night and going alone in the forest and dancing with some other men. But because that some other man is not somebody else but Krishna, it is for Krishna, it is considered transcendental, spiritual. It is considered beyond duality. Gopis are worshipped for that. If it had been for somebody other, then it is very condemnable. Like that. Another example we can take is of Bali Maharaj. I don't know how many of you have heard the story of Bali Maharaj, but if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, the 8th canto, the story of Bali comes. So this Bali Maharaj is the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj's son was Virochan, and Virochan's son was Bali. So he was the king of the demons. And Bali Maharaj was very powerful. He has, by his power, he has usurped the kingdom of heaven, and he has thrown Indra and all the demigods away. So Indra and other demigods, they have no house to live now. So that time, then they pray to the Lord, and Lord Vishnu appears as the son of Aditi and Kashyap as Vamanadev. So that time, Vamanadev goes in the form of a small Brahman and asks for charity to Bali. And Bali Maharaj says, yes, you ask, I am the king of the whole universe. Whatever charity you want, I can give. And Vamanadev says that, my dear Bali, I just want 3 steps of land. That's all. And that to my steps. I will take 3 steps and that much land. So Bali was thinking, you are a child and you are talking like a childish thing. Why you want only 3 steps? I am the king of the universe. I can give you anything. So that time, very beautiful conversation takes place between Bali and Vamanadev. Finally, Bali says, okay, if you want 3 steps of land, no problem. I can give 3 steps of land only. Take whatever you want. So he was about to give. He took water in his hand and he was about to take the sankalpa of giving. At that time, Bali Maharaj's spiritual master, whose name was Shukracharya, he comes and he says, my dear Bali, what are you doing? Don't get cheated. Don't you know who is this Vamana? He is Sakshat Narayana. He is Vishnu. And he has come to cheat you. By asking 3 steps of land, he is going to take everything from you and going to give to demigods. Please don't give him anything. At that time, Bali Maharaj becomes in a dharma sankat. Because on one hand, he is a Brahmana who is asking him charity. On the other side, his own guru is saying him, don't give charity. So what to do? At that time, Bali Maharaj, because Bali Maharaj is also a very great devotee, is one of the Mahajanas, one of the very great pure devotees, although he is born in a demonic family, but very great devotee. So that time, Bali Maharaj thinks that all the scriptures, they say that all the rules and regulation can be broken for the satisfaction of the Lord. If for the service of the Lord, everything can be compromised, everything can be compromised, everything can be adjusted if it is going to please the Supreme Lord. So if this personality who has come in front of me, this Vamana, if he is really Lord Vishnu, then what is the wrong in giving everything to Vishnu? Suppose if he is going to take away everything from me, ultimately is Vishnu, everything belongs to him. So what is the problem? So at that time, Bali Maharaj disobeyed his guru, Shukracharya, and he gave charity to Vamanadev. And as predicted by Shukracharya, what happened? Bali Maharaj, Vamanadeva, then as soon as Bali Maharaj gave the charity, he took the sankalpa. Immediately the small Vamanadev expanded his size, very huge size, which has no limits. It's like the entire universe was covered by the size of Vamanadev. So in one step, Vamanadev covered the entire upper planets, all the 7 upper planets, Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swargloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, all the upper lokas were covered by Vamanadev in one step. And then second step, he covered all the lower lokas also. And then Vamanadev told to Bali, my dear Bali, you told you will give me 3 steps, but in 2 steps only I have taken everything from you. So where the third step? Like that. So you see, as predicted by Shukracharya, everything was taken away from Bali Maharaj, like that. But Bali Maharaj is glorified for disobeying his guru. Although disobeying one's guru is considered a very, very great offense. One will not attain any gati. One will not attain any, good destination if one offends or disobeys one's spiritual master or guru. But here Bali Maharaj is disobeying his guru, in one sense offending his guru, but because that is done for the satisfaction of Krishna, for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, under the direction of the scriptures, Bali Maharaj is being glorified. So when Lord Vamandev asked, my dear Bali, where will I keep my third step? So Bali Maharaj told, my dear Lord, although you might have taken everything from me, but you have not taken one thing. And what is that? That is me, myself. So now you keep your third step on my head. And in that way, I will surrender myself also. Till now, I have surrendered my property, but now I will surrender myself also. So Vamandev kept his third leg on Bali Maharaj. That's called Atma Nivedanam. And that's why, and then if you read the pastimes, Vamandev glorifies Bali Maharaj for devotion. And then Vamandev gives Bali Maharaj one Sutala Loka, one of the lower planetary systems, which is more opulent than the heavenly planets also. And Vamandev tells to Bali Maharaj that, my dear Bali, you are such a great devotee of mine that I will personally will become your doorkeeper in the Sutala Loka. And you can every day take my darshan. I will never leave your company like that. So these are the pastimes of Lord. The point which I am trying to bring is that here we are learning in the Sthita Pragya section how to rise above attachment and aversions, the dualities of this world. It is practically impossible to rise above dualities of attachment and aversion till the time we have a higher goal, a higher purpose. So here I quoted many Shastric examples of the gopis, of Bali Maharaj, and before gopis, one more example I quoted Arjuna. Similarly, one more example you can take Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj was the son of the demon Hiranyakashipu. So when Lord Nrsimhadev came and killed Hiranyakashipu by his nails, he tore him apart. It was the first surgery without anesthesia. So he tore his body apart. At that time, Prahlad Maharaj took a garland and placed the garland on the body of Nrsimhadev. So somebody may say, what kind of son is this? The person who has killed his father, he is garlanding that person. Somebody may think like this, but because Prahlad Maharaj is the great devotee of Nrsimhadev, so that's why this is transcendental. So the point is that if we live our life based on the principle that with our words, thoughts, actions, deeds, with everything in our life, if we make the singular focus that I want to please Krishna, I want to please my Guru, I want to please Krishna, Sir Krishna. If that becomes our singular focus, then the dualities of this world, the happiness and suffering, the happiness and suffering, and the attachment and aversions, the insult and fame, all these dualities which comes will not affect us. So we may remain in this world, we may do all kind of activities, but we will be above all kind of dualities. Because for rising above dualities, we need a higher goal. Like my spiritual master gave one very nice example in this regard from his own personal life. So when my spiritual master was very small boy, he was living in Chicago in his home. So that time, once he saw his father came back from the office, and as soon as father came back from the office, the father and his mother, they both went inside their room, and they closed the room from inside, and they were talking. So my spiritual master that time was a small boy. He wanted to hear what they were talking. So he kept his ears close to the door. And they were talking that there were some differences among them. So they were planning to take divorce. They were thinking that these things are not working out. So let's separate. Let's take divorce. So hearing this, my spiritual master was a small boy that time. He started crying. Just imagine how a child will feel when he hears his own parents talking like this, getting separated. Very, very painful. But then immediately he heard. But then what happened is, then in the evening, his mother was getting ready for going somewhere, maybe for some party or something. So he was dressing up. So my spiritual master was a small boy. That time he was in the room. He asked his mother, that, my dear mother, is it true that you and father are planning to separate? Very innocently asked. So his mother told that, dear Richard, my spiritual master before was Richard, dear Richard, actually, everybody loves your father and everybody loves me, but some other we don't like each other. So that's why we are thinking of separating. So he became again very upset. He started crying. So when this boy started crying, means my spiritual master started crying as a boy, the mother became very, when she saw him crying, she became very disturbed. So next day when the father came to home, spiritual master's father came home, they again went inside the room and they talked. And this time they talked that, you see, you and me may have a lot of differences. You may not like what I do and how I conduct my life. I may not like many things, and we may decide to separate. But for the sake of our children, we have to learn to adjust and continue in this relationship. And then they both decided to continue. And then since then, till their end of their lives, they were living together. And their son Richard, he happened to become Radhanath Swami, one of the greatest spiritual masters, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and brought so much good to the whole family. So the lesson which my spiritual master brought here is that, you see, there was a difference between his parents. But for a higher principle, for a higher cause, what was the higher cause? The higher cause was for the good of the children, for the future of the children, for the happiness of the children. They both decided to rise above their personal attachments and aversions towards each other, and they're ready to become corporate. This means they transcended. So this is a very practical example of transcending attachment and aversions. So till the time we don't have a higher goal, a higher principle to live for, we will not be able to rise above attachment and aversion. That's why there's a saying that if you have nothing worthy to live for, if you have nothing worthy in your life to die for, I'll repeat, if you have nothing worthy in your life for which you can give your life for, you have nothing worthy to live for. Which means if there's nothing in your life for which you are ready to give your life, if there's no higher principle, there's no higher cause in our life for which we are ready to sacrifice anything, our personal interest, our personal selfishness, if there's nothing in our life for which we are ready to compromise on this, then our life is nothing worth living like that. So that's why Bhagavad Gita is teaching us through the example of Arjuna to rise above this raga and dvesha, rising above attachments and aversions. So for devotees, and this is possible when we try to live for the satisfaction of God. So how to live for the satisfaction of God? We understand the satisfaction of how to satisfy God. We understand God can be satisfied by satisfying the spiritual master and the devotees. So when we follow the instructions and the teachings of the Vaishnavas, of the devotees, and try to follow on their footsteps, pleasing them, serving them, that's how God becomes pleased. And by so doing, we can very easily rise above all attachments and aversions. And so then the next question comes that, as I told already, that by pleasing devotees, we can rise above this. But how does strength will come by which a devotee will be able to come to this exalted consciousness, transcendental consciousness, spiritual consciousness, that I just want to serve devotees, I just want to serve Krishna, I want to live for the satisfaction of devotees and Krishna. How that consciousness will come? So the answer is given in the verse that this consciousness cannot be attained by our personal endeavor alone. It's not possible. This consciousness can be attained by the causeless mercy of the Lord. By the causeless mercy of the Lord. And how does we attain that causeless mercy? How does we attain that causeless mercy? So the answer is given that the causeless mercy is attained when we control our senses through regulative principles of freedom. As you can see on the screen, one who controls the senses with the regulative principle of freedom. What the meaning of regulative principles of freedom? See, everybody wants to be free. Everybody wants to free. Nobody wants any bondage. But then, if we are given total freedom, then we are tend to misuse or misutilize our freedom. That's why our scriptures and spiritual masters they give some regulations to us. Some rules and regulations they give. So if we engage our senses through the help of these regulations, then through such engagement of senses under regulation, we can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. And by this mercy, we will attain the consciousness, the transcendental spiritual consciousness, by which we will get a strong desire to serve and satisfy Krishna, through which we can rise above all attachment and aversion, and we can remain on a spiritual platform free from all fear, anxiety, and can transcend the cycle of birth and death, like that. So here comes a very important clue, that we have to learn to control our senses to regulate principles. So, like for example, in ISKCON, we follow the 4 regulative principles. Does anybody know what is the 4 regulative principles? Let us take a small quiz. Who knows what are the 4 regulative principles which the Shastras say and which Srila Prabhupada very strongly instituted in our society? Anybody would like to answer?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
No, that bad habits like smoking and drugs.
Yeah, that is called no intoxication. Correct? That is one. No intoxication, which includes smoking or drinking liquor. If somebody is very serious in spiritual life, then it also includes even tea and coffee also. Sometimes very shocking to people. What? Tea and coffee also not? It's like the biggest shock of their life. Because tea contains nicotine and coffee contains caffeine. That's why devotees who want to advance more, they try to avoid even tea and coffee also. Even devotees who are more serious, they even avoid chocolates, because chocolates contain cocoa. So all kind of this cocoa items, So our ISKCON devotees are so intelligent, They have developed alternative for everything. Now you cannot drink tea, so you can drink herbal tea. If you come to our matchless gift stall in ISKCON, you will get herbal tea packets. The taste is similar to tea, but there's no intoxication in that. Similarly, we have developed a herbal coffee. Once my spiritual master was saying, my spiritual master was in Italy. So during the prasadam time, they gave some drink to him to drink. So when he drank, he asked, "What is this?" So they told, "Maharaj, this is non-alcoholic beer." So they told Maharaj, "This is non-alcoholic." Maharaj told, "Come on, just because it's non-alcoholic, can you make anything?" So point is that our devotees are very intelligent. They have come up with herbal tea, herbal coffee. Similarly, we don't take chocolates. So devotees have come with carob chocolates. Carob? Carob is a carob powder also come. It's a very similar taste to chocolate. So devotees make carob chocolates. So it doesn't contain cocoa, like that. So intoxication includes all these things also. Correct. So this was about no intoxication. Okay, anybody will say the next principle, second? Anybody else? One we will take from one person. Who will say the second one?
Prabhuji, chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Rama Maha Mantra.
Mataji, that is surely our principle to chant 16 rounds. That is like we have 2 kind of regulative principles. One is do and one is don'ts. So we are currently discussing about the don'ts. Chanting of Hare Krishna comes under do, like we should do chanting. But there are 4 don'ts which are told, which are very, very important to know, without which we will not make any progress in spiritual life. So first we discussed was no intoxication. Correct? So second one was
no gambling. No illicit relationship.
Okay. So one will take. I think everybody answered 2 things. Second one was no meat eating. So no meat eating. So we don't take non-veg food, our devotees. It's absolutely not allowed. So we don't take all this, whatever variety of things are available. But devotees don't eat meat, which is also include fish. It also include egg. Sometimes people ask, "Prabhuji, can we take egg na, Prabhuji?" And they say also, nowadays there are vegetarian eggs. I asked, what is the meaning of this vegetarian eggs? They say, Prabhuji, actually they have a particular procedure in the poultry farm where the hen produces the eggs in a particular day. So there is no killing of the chicken. So they are vegetarian eggs. So one of our devotee doctors, he was explaining to us in one of our youth classes. He told, "Arey, come on, you cannot take this so-called vegetarian eggs, what people are promoting in the market. It is very, very unhealthy. Because what is this vegetarian egg? So when the when the hen gives the egg, they put some injections in particular way that hen gives the eggs artificially, and that entire hen is actually filled with the menstrual fluid of the hen. So it is very dirty also, and it's completely unhealthy also. Please don't take that. Although it may not include the killing of the chicken or something like that, but it's very unhygienic and unhealthy. So we don't take that. So that's why eggs also we avoid, and fish also, and what to speak of all kind of meat items. So that is no meat eating. That's obviously each of these items has a subtle meaning also. When we say no meat eating, it also includes no violence. So when we say no violence, it means don't hurt anybody, even by your words or actions also. But at least on a gross platform, first we are trying to understand. Please, at least on a gross platform, we should not take meat in our food. Krishna has provided variety of foodstuffs in the vegetarian diet. We have variety of vegetables, variety of with milk and grains we can make thousands of preparations, sweets, and what all and what not we can prepare. Unlimited number of prasadam items we can prepare. So there's no need for us to eat somebody's meat or something. One philosopher said that don't make your belly as the storehouse of carcasses of dead animals. So our intake should be pure. And actually, we are not vegetarians also. There's nothing great being about a vegetarian, because Prabhupada said even a monkey is a vegetarian. Even an elephant is a vegetarian. We are actually Krishnatarian, which means a devotee is supposed to eat only Krishna prasadam. You cook vegetarian food and offer to Krishna and eat prasad. That is what is ideal, as much as possible. Just eating vegetarian food also, sometimes nowadays in the modern world it is coming. Somebody says, Prabhuji, I am very spiritual. Acha, really? How? Prabhuji, I eat only vegetarian food. So people think that eating vegetarian food means being spiritual. There's nothing spiritual in being a vegetarian. But when you offer the vegetarian food to Krishna and becomes a bhoga and becomes prasad, that prasad is spiritual. Correct? Like that. And then those who want to advance even more in spiritual life seriously, they even avoid certain vegetarian items also, like onion, garlic, and certain items like mushroom, and this particular dal comes, masoor dal. So these items are avoided, not because they are non-veg items, but because they are in lower modes. They are in rajoguna and tamoguna. So for making progress in spiritual life, we need to come to sattva-guna, the mode of goodness. So there are certain items which are in tamoguna. So they increase our rajoguna, tamoguna, which means like if you eat a lot of onion and garlic food, then the senses becomes very agitated. So with agitated senses, one cannot chant Hare Krishna peacefully, and one cannot practice devotional service peacefully. So to practice spiritual life effectively, we need to have peaceful mind, peaceful senses, peaceful disposition. So for that, our food has to be of a particular quality. That's why we avoid, onion, garlic when we offer to Lord also, and mushrooms and this kind of foodstuffs. Like that. There's the whole manual is there where it is told what foods to avoid and all, like that. So although they are not non-veg, but devotees try to avoid as far as possible. So this was about no meat eating. And the third regulative principle was no gambling. No gambling. Somebody mentioned it. Who mentioned no gambling? Somebody mentioned, I heard. Yeah. So no gambling includes. Now, gambling, we know, gambling means going to casinos or this kind of things. But it also includes, anything where we are, in a very anxiety-driven situation in relation to money. Anything which causes a lot of anxiety in relation to money is called gambling. For example, people play cards with money. That is also considered gambling. Playing cards without money, no problem. But people play carom with money. For money, they bet and play, and people play cards. Similarly, nowadays during this sports tournaments like 2020, people do betting. They do, and they put bet India will win or Australia will win or Pakistan will win. You know, uh, like this. Nowadays, this online rummy is very famous. Now and then messages keeps coming, play rummy and win 5 crores, like that. So all these things comes under gambling actually. In fact, even, please don't be shocked, but even investing in share market also comes in gambling. See, in the share market, there are two kinds of things. There are shares and there are debentures. So the debentures are like loans. When you purchase debentures, it's like you are, it's like a loan, lending of a loan. So there's a fixed interest rate, and then as per your investment, you get back. There's a surety. But in shares, what happens? This trading, this online trading nowadays is so much prevalent. There's so many advertisements coming. They're showing the advertisement. There was a simple housewife, and then their family was poor and they don't have much money. And then they started doing online trading, and within 1 week they went from rags to riches. They make crores, billions. Then they show the family with a big car, a big house, and it may appear very attractive. It may look like a quick way of making money. Many people may be making money also. But as far as spiritual standard goes, it is directly gambling, like that. So this trading is gambling. Investing in shares also is gambling. I was thinking of shares because what happens when you invest in share? A lot of speculation is there. People study, okay, today we invest in this company's share. Tomorrow the share price will rise. And as the share price will rise, we'll get quick money, like that. So that makes a person very, cunning, duplicitous, and it's actually forbidden for a serious practitioner of spiritual life. It's not recommended. That's why it comes from gambling. Even shares, debentures are all right, mutual funds are all right, and other kind of fixed investments, they are all right. But this kind of very up and down, because suddenly the stock market can crash, and people have committed suicide also. Like there was one famous case of Mr. Karthik Rajaraman from Chennai. He made a big money in New York Stock Exchange. Very old case, 2000, when in 2008 or 10 somewhere, when recession came, so the New York Stock Exchange crashed, and he has invested a lot of money, and he lost a lot of money. He became very disturbed in his mind. Although it is not that he don't have food to eat and to maintain his family, basic facilities were there, but because he lost so much money and a lot of losses he went through, he became too much disturbed in his mind. So one day what happened is he was too disturbed, so he went to home with a very bad plan in his mind, and he just killed his whole family. He took a gun, he killed his wife who was making food in the kitchen, and then he went to his children's room. He has 3 children, 2 sons and 1 daughter. He shot all 3 of them. He shot his mother-in-law who was living with them, and finally he kept the gun like this, shot, because he was too disturbed, too depressed on what happened. That's why this kind of things we should not do. It's a very famous case. If you go to Google, you can find Karthik Rajaraman, and there are many like that. We are just saying one. So this was about gambling. And the fourth regulative principle is called as no illicit sex. No illicit sex, which means no sex outside marriage, no sex before marriage, or we can also put in straightforward words like no boyfriend girlfriend business. That is not allowed for devotees who want to make serious spiritual advancement. Nowadays it is becoming very common trend in the world. Nowadays, what to speak of colleges, nowadays even schools, boys and girls are very freely mixing with each other, and the friendship starts with a handshake, but then it ends in abortion. Like that, many cases are coming out even at the school level. Teenage pregnancies are increasing like anything. It was earlier in America. It is a very common thing, but now these things are increasing like anything in India also. Teenage pregnancies, and even in school, children are doing this kind of activity, and colleges, and it is becoming very difficult to control the uncontrolled mind and senses of the youths of today. That's why youths are committing suicide. You see the faces of the youth; they have morose faces. They have sullen faces, morose faces, depressed faces. They don't know the goal of life. They are lost actually. because of this. They have no focus. Many boys, they hang themselves because some girl broke their heart and left, like that. That's why we, in our youth preaching, we do the preaching we do to the college students and the working boys. We teach this principle very strongly, that please don't you are allowed to marry at the right time, under direction of your parents. You can search a perfect match, a suitable match for you, and get married and live happily in a family. That is not a problem. That is perfectly all right. But don't get into this, boyfriend, girlfriend kind of business. First of all, it distracts the students from studies, or it distracts the working people from their work. And second time, it kills a person's character. Sometimes, even nowadays, we find that even married people get into extramarital affairs, which is very, very, painful to hear such kind of things happening in society. And then, their families get disturbed, and a lot of situations happen. I will tell one real story which is coming to my mind. There was one man, he was a very big multi-millionaire living in Bombay. And he was a very big man, and he very, very elderly also. He was close to around 55, 60, somewhere in between. So every day this man used to go for jogging in a park. Morning people go for jogging. So he used to go for jogging. So one day, what happened? So in that park, one young girl also used to come for jogging. So this young girl, he understood that, okay, this man, he's a very big fellow and very big crorepati kind of person. So this girl also started, jogging with him. They became jogging partners. So every day they, like this, every day, every morning, they both used to jog together. So jogging, they started interacting with each other. And this girl, she was very young, maybe around 25 something, and he was around 55 or 60 something, like that. So this girl started, teasing that, not teasing, not exactly. No, she started telling to this man that, oh, you look like exactly like some film star name. She told, your face cut is like this. So this, this man thought that, oh, she likes me. I think she's appreciating my. And then slowly they started meeting more further and started talking. And then eventually, what happened? This girl started calling this man to her home, and relationship started becoming more and more intimate, like that. And then gradually, everybody started coming to know. First, this man's colleagues started to come to know. Other people started coming to know. Gradually, the news went to his wife and children. And his children came to know. Actually, the children were of marriageable age. When the children came to know, they said, Papa, what are you doing? What is this nonsense? We are of marriageable age and you are doing this kind of nonsense. And this man was so much, he was so much sold out to that girl. He was like a lusty rogue. He became so foolish. I say, no, she likes me. Like that. And this girl, within the short period of time, this girl took out crores of rupees from this man. She was making demand after demand. Purchase me this, purchase me that, give me this, give me that. So, and one fine day, this girl just left somewhere. No, she was not reachable on mobile, not mail, on WhatsApp, nothing. And this man was like, he became a big fool, like that. This is just one example I gave. But, so actually lust makes a fool out of a person. So that's why this fourth regulative principle of no illicit sex, no extramarital affairs, no boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, it is actually character killing and soul killing activity. So if we really are serious about our spiritual life, this is one principle which we need to follow very strictly. So those who are ladies, they should be very, very faithful to their husbands, like pativrata, and those who are men, they should also be very loyal to their wives. And in this way, they should not do adultery. Like that, when Prabhupada went to the Western world, he was preaching and he was speaking about these 4 principles. So when the Western people used to hear no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, they used to think, Swamiji, who can follow this? That too in the Western world. Please, relax. Some principles, please relax them. Prabhupada told that I have not come here to cheat anybody. I have not come here to, please the Americans. I have come here to tell the truth. Those who want the truth, they will come. Those who don't want, they will not come. We are selling diamonds. People who want diamonds, they will come. People who want cheap, people who want God cheaply, they will go to somebody else who is selling God cheaply, who cheats people by saying that you can do all nonsense in this world and still you can get God. So we are not that kind of cheap presenters of God. We are presenting the truth and the pristine, pure philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Those who want that, they will come like that. Then one person told that, Swamiji, okay, no problem. We don't have any problem in the three principles, but if you can just relax one principle, which is this illicit sex follow principle, then Swamiji, a lot of people will come, a lot of people will become your followers. Prabhupada told, absolutely no compromise. My guru never compromised. I will also never compromise. I am not here to make followers. If I can make one pure devotee, if I can send one person back home, back to spiritual world, I will consider that as a success of my preaching. I am not here to make followers like that. So our acharyas have given the standards like this. So these are, recently I just came to know, like in America, the government in America has overturned this Raw Act, Raw v. Wade Act. I don't know how many of you know about it, but this Raw v. Wade Act, which was there in America since last half a century. The act was basically about, the freedom of abortion for the women, like that. So the government has overturned it. Overturned means they have disallowed, free abortions and government sanctions abortions like that, and they're criminalizing people like that. So a lot of uproar was going on. Basically, the whole point is that why people create such an uproar, because they think that, oh, if the government is not allowing us abortions, then they are taking away our freedom from us. Then we cannot indulge in illicit sex, because people indulge in illicit sex and then they get pregnancy and then they want to abort the child, and the sin increase in the society. So because people don't know the religious principles, people don't know the spiritual principles, regulative principles, they don't know. So they indulge in sinful life. So that's why Krishna very clearly is saying here in this verse, which we are hearing from in the second chapter, Sthitabharga sections, that if we try to control our senses by following the regulative principles, so these are the regulative principles we just now discussed. And it is difficult, because that's why it's called control. If it's so easy, then why they will call control? Control means it's difficult. So if we control our senses through the regulative principles of freedom, see, it may look like we are following some rules and regulation, but these principles will eventually make us more and more free. Real freedom, spiritual freedom. So then we will attract the mercy of the Lord. And when the mercy of the Lord will come in our life, then what will happen? That mercy will situate us on such a platform that we will be beyond all dualities. The pleasure and pains of this world will not affect us. The insult and honor of this world will not affect us. One will become very cheerfully situated, unaffected by any situation in this world, and the doors to the spiritual world will be wide open for that person. It's only a matter of time. That person will be moving towards the spiritual world. So this is what Krishna explained in this verse number 64. And our time is unfortunately over here. We could only discuss one verse today, but the principles are so loaded and so deep that I felt that it requires an explanation. Although this whole section of Kim Vrajeta, Kim means how does he walk? How this person engages his senses. So the answer is, the person engages his senses by rising above duality. For rising above duality, we need a higher principle, a higher goal, a higher purpose in our life to live for. And for that, I discussed many examples from Shastras of Bali Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Gopis, Arjuna, that they were living for the satisfaction of the Lord. That's why they didn't mind even breaking the normal so-called moral codes for the satisfaction of the Lord. And I gave the example of my own spiritual master, what happened in his family between his parents. And then in order to get that kind of consciousness, we need to follow the regulative principles to attract the mercy of the Lord, because only by the mercy, the blessings, the grace of the Lord, we will be able to follow this. And how that mercy will come? By following the regulative principles. And what are the regulative principles? We discussed: no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex. So in this way, Krishna conscious life is very simple and very sublime. We need to chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada told we should chant 16 rounds. In case we are not chanting 16 rounds, slowly we should try to come to that. Beginning with 1 round, then 2, then 3, then 4, gradually. Every month we can increase one round, or every twice a month, or every semester we can increase based on our situations, trying to come to 16 rounds and follow the 4 regulative principles very nicely and associate with devotees take Krishna Prasadam, and life is wonderful, blissful. The doors to the spiritual world will be wide open in front of us. So I'd like to end here, and in case there are some questions, now we can take. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Anybody?
हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
मैं एक श्लोक बोल सकती हूँ?
हाँ, please.
ये पत्रम पुष्पम वाला श्लोक है।
Okay, please tell.
पत्रम पुष्पम फलम तोयम योम्या भक्त्या प्रेषति तर्तं भुक्त्या पार्थनाम अश्नामि पितात्मना।
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Very wonderful. You told the shloka exactly. Perfect.
The meaning?
You can tell the meaning also.
Okay. The meaning is, whatever you give me with Lord and devotion, like with love and devotion, like a leaf, a flower, water, or fruit.
Krishna says.
Then what will happen if you offer with love and devotion?
Krishna will accept it.
Krishna will accept our offerings if we offer them with love and devotion. Wonderful. Hari Bol. Thank you.
Hari Bol.
My daddy taught me this. And
Hari Bol. Wonderful. You are very fortunate to get such a good grandmother, devotee grandmother.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thanks a lot for telling us that attraction and aversion are one of the same things, or you can say, can we say like two sides of this coin? We can say.
Sorry, Mataji, pardon?
That aversion and attraction are same.
I told that
They are
attraction.
the two sides of the same coin.
Correct.
Thank
So you,
Prabhuji.
correct. I told that they are the same side of the two sides of the same coin. Like when we have too much aversion for something, it's the other side of attraction only. It is coming in a perverted form.
Perverted
Like-
form.
Hmm.
Like Kansa was always afraid of Krishna, so he was always taking his name.
Yeah, Kamsa was actually always wanted to kill Krishna. So he was so much thinking about Krishna, but he was thinking out of hate. Like out of hate he was thinking. So that's why in the Bhagavatam, Narmani glorifies Kamsa in terms of that Kamsa was very intensely thinking about Krishna, although he was thinking in a negative sense, but still, and because of thinking about Krishna like that, he got liberated. Like that. So attraction and aversion are two sides of the same coin. We can especially think in terms of material life. Suppose if we too much are averse to something, that shows that we have a attachment to that thing. So that's how it is understood in our material life. And as far as the Lord is concerned, in spiritual life it is concerned, then developing attachment to the Lord is very good. And developing aversion for materialistic lifestyle without Krishna consciousness, that is also very good. Like currently we have too much attachment for wrong things, and we have too much aversion for the good things. For example, like we have aversion for getting up early in the morning to chant Hare Krishna. And we have attachment for too many materialistic things, like it can be anything, going here, going there, or associating with non-devotees. So we have to reverse it. we should have a lot of attachment for the right things. For example, for chanting Hare Krishna, we can have attachment. We can have attachment for going to holy dhams. We can have attachment for serving devotees. We can have attachment for rendering services. So these kind of attachments are good. These are called spiritual attachments. And we can also have aversion for the non-Krishna conscious items. So for example, any activity or any person or any place or any situation which makes me non-Krishna conscious, un-Krishna conscious. So I can develop aversion for that. Means I can try to neglect it, which is also all right, which is allowed like that. So in this way, we can utilize even attachment and aversion in Krishna consciousness. That is the explanation.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna. हाँ, yes माता जी.
आज का जो हमारा क्लास था प्रभु जी,
जी.
मुझे ऐसे लगा कि ये बिल्कुल कंप्लीट था और जो कुछ भी हमने सुना उसको हमको अंदर ले जाना था बहुत अच्छे से और वो गया भी. इसलिए मुझे लगता था कि एट द एंड ऑफ द क्लास हमें क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन की कोई जरूरत नहीं थी. तो बहुत बहुत खूबसूरत और बहुत वंडरफुल और बहुत अच्छा क्लास था प्रभु जी. थैंक यू सो मच प्रभु जी. कोई संशय वाली बात नहीं थी, कोई क्वेश्चन आंसर वाली बात ही नहीं थी. चलो फिर भी बहुत कुछ क्वेश्चन आंसर्स में भी हमें समझने को मिलता है, रिपीट हो जाता है. तो बहुत अच्छा था, बहुत वेरी नाइस, वंडरफुल. थैंक यू वेरी मच प्रभु जी.
थैंक यू माता जी. एक्चुअली हम जो बोलते हैं वो प्रभुपाद जी ने जो हमें उनके ग्रंथों में दिया है, गीता भागवत में जो प्रभुपाद जी ने उनके भक्ति वेदांत तात्पर्य जो लिखे हैं, उसमें प्रभुपाद जी ने कृष्ण भावनामृत के सिद्धांत को बहुत ही स्पष्ट रूप से प्रस्तुत किया है, बिना कुछ हौच पौच या बिना कुछ इधर उधर की बातें बताए बिना. तो प्रभुपाद जी के तात्पर्य इतने स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड, इतने सरल और सीधे हैं कि कोई बच्चा भी अगर उनको पढ़ेगा तो उसको पता लग जाएगा कि भाई जीवन में जीवन कैसे जीना है और क्या करना है और क्या नहीं करना है. तो उसमें संशय रहेगा ही नहीं. प्रभुपाद जी ऐसे कुछ आजकल के जो सो कॉल्ड गुरुज होते हैं जो बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं, इधर उधर घुमा फिरा के बोलते हैं और लोगों को सत्य से दर्शन नहीं कराते, प्रभुपाद जी ऐसे नहीं बोलते थे. प्रभुपाद जी बहुत स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड और प्रिंसिपल बेस्ड सीधा बोलते थे, क्योंकि जो वास्तविक साधु संत लोग होते हैं उनका एकमात्र उद्देश्य होता है लोगों का कल्याण करना, सत्य का दर्शन कराकर. वो लोगों को कुछ चीट नहीं करना चाहते, उनका कुछ सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट नहीं होता, कुछ पैसा बनाना या फॉलोअर्स बढ़ाना या ये सब उनका उद्देश्य नहीं होता. इसलिए वो सत्य को बताने में डरते नहीं है. वो ये नहीं सोचते कि भाई ये सुनकर लोगों को लगेगा कैसा, क्या लोग हमारी तारीफ करेंगे, वाहवाही करेंगे या हमारे बारे में कैसा बोलेंगे. जो शास्त्र बता रहे हैं ऐसा वो बोलते हैं और लोगों को आध्यात्मिक जीवन में उन्नति प्रगति करने का चांस देते हैं. तो हम सबको एक्चुअली प्रभुपाद जी के प्रति कृतज्ञ होना चाहिए जिन्होंने हमें ये कृष्ण भावनामृत आंदोलन दिया है, इंटरनेशनल सोसाइटी फॉर कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, जिसकी वजह से हमें सब ज्ञान मिला है और मिल रहा है और बहुत सारे अच्छी सेवाएं मिल रही हैं और ये सब सीखने मिल रहा है. मैं अपने आप को इतना भाग्यशाली समझता हूँ स्वयं को कि मुझे इस हरे कृष्णा मूवमेंट से जुड़ने का मौका मिला और सेवाएं देने का मौका मिल रहा है और इतना शुद्ध जो आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान है वो मिल रहा है गुरु परंपरा में. तो हमें समझ लीजिए कि हमारे मनुष्य जीवन की सर्वोत्तम उपहार हमें मिल गया है, इससे बढ़कर और कुछ नहीं. तो बस हमें बने रहना है भक्ति में, भक्तों के संग में, और फिर जीवन की सर्व सिद्धि हमें प्राप्त होगी बिना किसी डाउट के.
थैंक यू सो मच.
हरे कृष्णा.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु.
So can we end here, Mataji, then, if there are no more questions?
Yes. 3 times Hari Bol to Prabhu ji.
Yes, we should all loudly chant 3 times Hari Bol to Prabhu ji. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.